Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. I'm Hayden Howerton. Joining me today is former SMU safety Jonathan McGill. Really excited to have an offense-defense combo episode. We're going to get into bowl prep just a little bit. We're going to self-scout the first 12 games of the year as we take a deep dive into SMU's season so far. A lot to listen to today, so stick around right after this.
You can't plan for everything, but you can be ready for anything. That's where we come in. Northwest Insurance Agency covers the wait, what? Moments in life with real coverage, real people, and real fast help. We offer sombrero-style coverage that protects your possessions, your loved ones, and everything else that fits under a sombrero. Call us today for a quote at 855-887-5656 or visit us at nwagencies.com.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back yet again for another episode of On the Pony Express. Joining me today, Jonathan McGill. No Billy Embody on this episode. So while the boss is away, the mice will play. And Jonathan, I'm really excited to get your take on the defense. Obviously, I can sit up here as an offensive guy and try my best with the defense, but really you're the expert when it comes to that. So as we start to get into kind of how the first 12 games went from our perspective as guys that have played college football at a high level recently, I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit on what you had seen over the first 12 weeks of the year.
Yeah, I would say for me, I kind of would break this season and this team up in, how would I best say it? In really just like three different facets. I think the first four games, or three different seasons, if you will. I think the first four games you kind of saw a defense that was new. You saw a lot of new faces. You saw guys that are playing in positions, playing on the field more than they have been in the past. Guys off, for instance, that come to mind is, Terry Webb was somebody coming in to the season. We had hopes for that he could be, a good player. Didn't know to the extent that he would. I think those first four games he really put on and played exceptional football. You have a whole new linebacking core, with Alex Kilgore kind of being the only guy that really played a lot of snaps last season to now, he's one of the leaders on this team. You have Brandon Miazono, who's a guy that kind of during the second to third part of this season really kind of established himself. Brandon Booker played exceptionally well as well. You have a transfer in Marcellus Barnes. Corner room looks different. Brandon Crossley's gone, somebody that's been a staple at SMU for a long time, who's going to take over that corner room and that leadership and that charisma that he brings to the field. And you see Marcellus Barnes kind of get to that mantle towards the end of the season. Deuce Harmon was a guy we had high hopes for. He played well. So I'd say the first four games, safety-wise, obviously you have Isaiah Wacobia and Ahmad Moses, who are guys that, we looked forward to be really good leaders. So I would say the first four games, right, you have East Texas A&M, you have Baylor, you have Missouri State, and TCU. And I think that as a defense and, as players that played, you saw some growing pains. You saw some guys that were running open in coverage. You saw guys in the defense not being able to really lock in on the little things, the details. The effort was there. And it was more just schematic things in terms of guys having a lapse in judgment or not being able to make a play that they would normally or routinely make. Then shift into that second part, right? The Syracuse, Stanford, Clemson, Wake Forest. That's when you see the defense really kind of take its own, right? You hold Syracuse to 18 points. You hold Stanford to 10 points. You hold Clemson to 24 and Wake Forest to 12. And I think during those games, that's when you started seeing what we were accustomed to seeing from a Scott Simons defense, from a team that gets sacks, gets takeaways, gets TFLs. And that's really when you started to see Ahmad Moses really a surge and be an all-conference player. The conference came out. Obviously, he was first team, and I think that was rightly deserved for him. Then you shift that, all the momentum that defense has built to now the remaining last four games. You have Miami, who you beat in overtime, top 10 at the time, hold Carson Beck to 2 interceptions, doesn't really have a successful game passing. You have Boston College, hold them to 13 points. Louisville, hold that team to 6. And then you finish with Cal with 35. So obviously didn't get a chance to really recap Cal, didn't end on a high note and on the right note, but did see a lot of growth from guys in this defense, in this room that I was proud of, from Ahmad Moses all the way to Isaiah Smith, to Cam Roberson, to Terry Webb, Jeffrey Imba, and just anybody and everybody in between. I feel like Marcellus Barnes really established himself to have a really big campaign in next season. So I would say defensively, I'll kind of break it up in 3 sections.
Yeah, that's awesome. I certainly saw some of that as well. I mean, you had a little bit better insight being in the building with some of those guys, but when you talk about the defense, just the growth that they were able to have over the season, you got to talk about Scott Simons and the job that he does with that unit. I mean, semifinalist for the Broyles Award, 3rd year in a row for Scott Simons to be named to that watch list, as this is a unit that really just got better as the year went on, where you really saw some growing pains early on. You saw them really come to their own in that middle third, and then all the way until the very end, just in that Cal game where there were some lapses in judgment, as you said, as we got beat over the top at times. That there were times that guys maybe bid on a double move a little bit, but I think the future is bright for the secondary, despite the departure of the 2 safeties. I really liked what Marcellus Barnes put on tape at times this year, so I'll second what you said. We saw some of it in the film room over on my side. He did a really nice job making some great plays, some great breaks on some of these routes, and it's just going to be really exciting seeing this unit kind of come to fruition in 2026. I think the biggest adjustment is obviously going to be losing the 2 safeties, with Ahmad and Isaiah both departing for potential NFL opportunities, as they're both going to kind of forge their own path going into next year. And it's going to be a common theme for this team. We're going to lose some big key players on offense as well. The whole tight end room is going to get decimated this offseason, as we'll look to reset. But as we get ready for the bowl game, there's still one more opportunity for this team to go out. And I'm fully expecting on the offense's side to match what Arizona is going to put on tape, as Arizona, as you guys will prepare for, a very talented offense with a very good quarterback. They're going to be one to sling it all over the yard. Their losses have only come when they're yet to break the 30-point mark. So no pressure there. But if we can hold them to under 30 points, it will certainly be a lot easier for this SMU team. I loved the way that we ran the ball later in the year. This was another kind of example of some growing pains for the offense early on, as the East Texas A&M game, it's felt like you sleptwalked through. The Baylor game, you certainly played well enough to win, but this is a team game, so go 1-1 into that trap game at Missouri State, first FBS game for them, and to walk into that game, defense is able to hold us in there, and offense is able to do enough in the second half. TCU game, we can chop that up to a rivalry, but so you go into conference play at 2-2. There were a lot of people jumping off the bandwagon at this time, as I've got receipts saved, which is fine. You know, when they come back, then we'll remember that. But you hit the conference play, you go 2-0 to start, you go on the road to Clemson, and it really feels like everything went right, offense, defense, special teams, as this team played its best game in the biggest moment up to that point. After that, you get the trap game again with Wake Forest. You fall short. We'll fall on that sword on the offensive side, as defense certainly played well enough to win with the 5 turnovers in Winston-Salem. That was good enough to win 99 times out of 100. SMU walks out of there victorious. Unfortunately, the offense didn't get off the bus. And so you fall there in that game 13-12 by the skinnier teeth. I mean, that field goal, if it was 1% shorter, it's bouncing off the crossbar. So you go back to Dallas, tail between your legs, got to face Miami, top 5 defense in the country. And I think the team rose to the occasion, where offense played well. You did not run the ball well in this game, but the way that Kevin played, he was very efficient. He made some elite throws to guys who were just refusing to be denied. And then finally, you get the game to overtime. You're able to run the ball well and go win that thing after a game-changing interception by Ahmad. You know, just one of his major highlights that he had over the year was that play against the Hurricanes. You get rolling after that. You steamroll a couple of teams until you fall at the Golden Bears just a couple weeks ago. If you were there at that game, we really appreciate you guys. But if you're going to go to any more games, including the bowl game, be sure and hop on Status Jet. Status Jet will be one to take you anywhere in the country that you guys want to go. And if you're going to the bowl game, guess what? You might have to get back for SMU basketball, as they host North Carolina at Moody Coliseum the very next day. Status Jet makes it easy for you guys to get in and get out, not just with flights, but they can set up car experiences as well. They can get you where you're going once once you get wheels on the ground, this is a once in a lifetime experience to where if you have a family member that you're looking to surprise for this Christmas, if you have work trips that you're looking to take, Status Jet will be one that can hook you up and give you that trip of a lifetime. Be sure you mention On the Pony Express, Billy Embody, Hayden Howerton, Jonathan McGill, all of the above when you go see our friends over there at Status Jet, and they will hook you up with one of the best deals that you can get in the private jet business. Jonathan, as we get into the bowl preparations for really 2026, because we're not going to play football again this calendar year, what are kind of some of your expectations and feelings on pulling the Holiday Bowl on January 2nd of next year?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for SMU to really make its mark and get this bad taste out of our mouths, right? You lose to Cal with an opportunity to get to the ACC championship, but you get rewarded in playing in a meaningful game, a bowl game in California, right? So it's not going to be freezing cold. You don't got to worry about the Fenway Bowl like it was in 2023 against Boston College. So you get a good venue, and you also against a quality opponent. Arizona ranked 17th, I believe. Just as you said, Noah Fafita is an excellent quarterback. So for your guys that are draft eligible, this is another opportunity to put something really good on tape. I would assume everybody plays. The only guys, you wouldn't would be guys that are typically like first round locks. I don't think we have any first round locks. I hope that we do, or we might, but at this point doesn't look like it. So you would assume that everybody plays. And so defensively, as somebody in the back end and the secondary, for those guys like Ahmad and Zay and Deuce Harmon, this is another opportunity to really put something great on tape for Isaiah Smith and Cam Roberson and Terry and Jeffrey. This is another opportunity to go against a good offensive line. They're going to, sling the ball all across the yard. Last game, Fafita had 286 yards passing. They have a good receiving core as well. Chris Hudson is a guy that transferred from Oregon. I remember playing him when I was about like a junior or a senior at Stanford. And so it's another opportunity. And it's a great opportunity. Arizona plays really hard. They play well. They have a good defense as well. So it's not just, another game or just, a consolation prize. It's really something that you can grow from, something you can put on tape. And it's against a quality opponent. You get an opportunity to beat a ranked opponent and really a team, that ended up beating Baylor. So you can get that taste out of your mouth as well if you're an SMU fan. So beating the team that beat you. So I think it's a lot going into it. It should be a good side, a good game in San Diego. It should be fun around New Year's. So I think that I'm expecting this team to come out and perform well and really try to make the most out of this opportunity.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. This is probably best case scenario for SMU if you're not getting into the college football playoff. This was one, and we talked pre-show, where we're just like, man, thank God it's not the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, as San Diego is going to be much more fun than El Paso. But the challenge comes of how do you keep the team focused for essentially the next month, as we're recording this on the 9th, and you're not going to play again until the 2nd. There's a long time. You've got the Christmas holiday. You're going to have New Year's Eve before this game. And I'm not saying that guys are going to go out and get themselves in trouble, when they're in San Diego, but it's just another distraction that is going to challenge the maturity of this team to be able to prepare for essentially a month and to be able to stay focused, stay locked in, keep your body under you, as this is just another opportunity for SMU to get better, not just for the guys that are going to be starters, but for the guys that are going to be starters next season. As you get 15 bowl practices, you get a major opportunity that really equals another spring football if you're able to use it efficiently. And for these guys, like in the tight end room, that are going to be guys that SMU is going to have to lean on next season, it's a big deal for them to be able to impress not just their position coach, but Coach Lashley. They're able to impress all of the upper management of this football team. So that way, when real spring football comes, or training camp, or whatever comes next, first game, you're able to have that level of trust with the staff that, hey, I've now been performing for this team for over a year. I've done everything you've asked me to do. I've played well. I've practiced well. This is now my opportunity. But in San Diego, it's going to be very fun for this team. There's always some great bowl experiences. I want to say, not to spoil anything, but there is going to be a couple of big time days for the guys where they're going to go out and see some of the sights and sounds of San Diego, get some tourist attractions in, as the bowl game is a celebration, and that's what's disappointing about Notre Dame canceling their bowl game, as it's pretty soft, to be honest. You work all year for this opportunity to go and get something fun at the end of the year, because Jonathan, as you know, man, football's hard. You know,
Hmm.
you're in this from January until now, January,
Yep.
with hardly any break. You know, hardly any time for you to go on vacation and let some stress out. This will be a great opportunity for this team to be rewarded for their hard work. While I know we would have loved to be in the playoff, we would have loved to won the ACC. Ultimately, an 8-4 season in your second year in the ACC. I'm not saying it's okay, and that we'll be happy with that. But to keep things in perspective, guys, I think last year going into our first year in the ACC, I believe I said if we went 7-5, I'd be happy with that result. So this team is on the right track. They're headed down the right path, and I'm really looking forward to the bowl game. But Jonathan, what you got going on, man? What does life look like for you right now?
Life is good. So far, not really much going on compared to what is about to transpire for these guys going into the draft and stuff like that. So just got out of that. I will have a UFL the season coming up in the spring, so we'll be doing that, but we'll still be trying to help out around SMU as best as I can. Really happy with my time being on the podcast, on my time helping out with the staff as well, and really just love being at SMU. Really grateful for the community, the donors, anybody that I ran into, whether that is somebody that I met for 20 seconds or somebody that I've known since my duration here, the teammates. So I just love this place. So that's pretty much what's going on for me. I'm still working out in the morning daily, and then definitely going to stay with the team as long as I can.
No, we're really fortunate to have you. And you guys would be really fortunate to go shop with our friends at the Thomas Auto Group. Jonathan, I'm in the market for a new car, man. I had some car trouble today. So I've been shopping online, looking around. And guys, if you go to the Thomas Auto Group, you mentioned on the Pony Express, they will hook you up with year-end pricing right now as 2025 comes to a close. And they will be sure to take care of you guys.
At Thomas Auto Group, the Thomas Promise includes the low price promise,
the pre-owned promise,
and the 72-hour exchange promise.
and finally, the 100% customer satisfaction promise. So shop Thomas Auto Group today, home of the Thomas Promise.
Well, we promise there's going to be tons of coverage as we get closer to the bowl game. We will be shooting some things on site. We'll try to get another episode going, hopefully outside on the beach in San Diego. But before we go, I do want to ask you just some thoughts about some adjustments that need to be made. Coming from the Cal game was obviously a major letdown. There's certainly some adjustments that need to be made offensively in that game. You just have to figure out a way to get off the bus, knock the jet lag back as you head back to the state of California where you just suffered that loss, and be able to figure something out of where you can start fast and do what this offense needs to do that we saw in all of the big games that SMU needed it in. In the Louisville game, you started very fast. You drove down the field. You scored a touchdown. Clemson game, you didn't score on the opening drive. Defense got a stop, and then you drove the field and played from ahead. That is going to be imperative for this offense to go out and get this team jump-started after a month off. It's going to be critical that Kevin's on what he's been able to do all year. He's had a very efficient year despite being injured with that ankle injury. We're going to be really lucky to get him back. Rhett talked about earlier today that he should be a Heisman hype guy going into 2026. And for Kevin, he needs a game like this bowl to be able to go out and perform and put on a great showing in order to show the voters and the press going into next year that, yes, I am a Heisman Trophy candidate going into the season. Because if he starts to build that press in the offseason and goes out and balls the first few non-conference games, it will snowball from there. He'll have all the confidence in the world going into ACC play. But on the defensive side, after that Cal showing, what are you looking to see from the defense?
Yeah, I think kind of what we grew accustomed to seeing, around that Syracuse game, a defense that was flying around. Maybe it was the late kickoff or anything like that, but it kind of looked like it took us a little bit longer defensively to really fly to the ball and get really good hits and get big hits on the running back. I felt like, we didn't get after quarterback. We had 0 sacks, which was something that we're not used to seeing. And then in the back end, we got to stay on top, and we have to make offenses earn their way down the field. And so we limited explosives from, week around 5 through week 11. And then, week 12 kind of just shot ourselves in the foot and did things that were uncharacteristic. And so I would say going into this next game with a great quarterback that you're going to play and a good receiving room and a good offense and a good play caller on the other side, it gives you an opportunity to get that bad taste out of your mouth. It gives you an opportunity to, if you, like you said earlier, a young guy that has an opportunity to really earn coach's trust. A guy I think about is Tyron Polley and Jalen Moses. Those two guys are probably going to be two guys we look towards in the next upcoming season in 2026 to really take the reins from Ahmad and take the reins from Zay. So that's an opportunity for those two guys to be vocal, to be able to get some good plays, get some good tape, have Coach Simons and Coach Hundley trust and believe in you. And then, on the flip side, Speedy Nettles and Marcellus Barnes, looking to them to have a good game. So I would just say adjustments would just be what I wanted to see is this defense flying around, making plays. And having fun, celebrating with another, TFL, sacks, and a couple of interceptions wouldn't hurt. So that's what I would like to see from this team going into this Arizona game. And I'm pretty confident we'll see some aspects of that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the sacks was probably the most surprising thing for me, just with how good that Coach Tibbs has really grown that unit, where you look at the guys we brought in this offseason, and there was lots of hype around him. Jeffrey Embaugh, we interviewed him during training camp earlier this year. He's slowly become one of my favorite Mustangs. He's just a really great guy to hang out and be around. But I was surprised about the no sacks because that had been almost the stamp for this defense of when they make their mark, it's because they're getting after the passer, which leads to the interceptions, which leads to the quarterbacks being under duress and getting the ball out quickly. And really everything snowballing from there. So certainly the sacks is going to be something. We'll have a full breakdown of the Arizona Wildcats in the coming weeks. But Jonathan, I'd love to get you on in the film room at some point. We'd love to get you on the whiteboard, draw up some things this offseason. I know you're going to be busy with UFL stuff, but we really appreciate you jumping on tonight and your constant contributions to the show.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate it. And I'll definitely, I love X's and O's. So I'll definitely try to get that plugged in and we can definitely do something.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Jonathan McGill, Hayden Howerton. We will see you guys on the next episode of On the Pony Express. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.